A lot of times when we start on our own health journey, especially if it's a little later in life, we start to wonder if it's possible to actually transmit this information and the importance of our own health journey to our children. And particularly for those of us that have a strong Christian or Catholic faith, it's really important for us as we start to discover the impact that treating our bodies and focusing on optimal health has in our mission. We want to pass that on to our children. So how do we do that? If you're new here, I'm Rita Johnson. I'm the owner of Divine Mercy Nutritional Care, and I help women to take their health back into their own hands through dietary changes, lifestyle work, and at-home lab testing. So often when someone comes to this information later in life, especially if they already have a family, they want to give this same information to their children and not have them suffer through the same amount of years of feeling unwell or not having the energy to perform their daily tasks. But sometimes we struggle with how do we actually do that, especially if that is something that has not been modeled to us. And so I just want to talk about some tips and some ways that we implement this as a family, and I see other families implement these changes, even if you're starting from scratch. So say, for example, up until this point, you have been eating just the standard American diet, lots of processed foods, and your people have grown to like those things. Regardless of how old your children are, I believe the very first and most important step in any health journey is for us to first model to our children the importance of why we're making these changes. When we really start to recognize that our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit and how we fuel them matters, it makes a difference in our day-to-day energy level, in our ability to focus during quiet prayer time, in our ability to listen to the Holy Spirit and what He's asking for us in our own life. The more we model that, the more we're going to allow for that to become attractive to our children. Obviously, we can model that poorly, or we can really take a good, strong focus on how, and asking the Lord that, how can I really bring this spirit into my home? This cultivating this attitude of taking care of this temple of the Holy Spirit. So first and foremost is our faith, right? Really prioritizing that, the why. The second thing I would say, and this is where we get a bit more practical, is showing your children that it is a lifelong pursuit. Our health is not something that we just do temporarily. I see a lot of times where people start to eat differently, and they start to eat cleaner, they start to, eliminate gluten or whatever it is they're finding is really problematic for their body, but they don't want to impose that on the rest of their family. Obviously, this gets a little trickier if we have older kids like teenagers, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But a lot of times when we then treat ourselves different than our children, so say we have a meal for the adults and a meal for the children, and the adults are eating healthy because, we're in our 40s and we're gaining weight, or we really need to get our health back under control. Without even realizing it, even if we don't speak like that to the children, we're really passing along this diet mentality, this thought process as if when we need to XYZ, lose weight, get healthier, decrease our blood pressure, you name it, then we eat a certain way. But up until then, you can eat however you want. You can have the highly processed foods. You can eat a lot more sugar. And then we really get into this problem of permeating that diet culture, which really is a big problem in terms of when we're looking at viewing our body as a temple of the Holy Spirit. We really want to step away from this diet mentality and into this whole living, this way that we're moving forward that's different. And then bringing them alongside into that education piece, because the reality is that they're going to start to feel better too. If they start to eat cleaner and healthier, they're going to notice it in terms of how they think, how they're sleeping, how they're feeling, if they're athletes, how they're performing. And so when we start to talk about the ways that we're feeling and the impacts that we're experiencing, then we can translate that to them in their own personal situation. So I hope some of these tips are really helpful for you. Obviously, it's a little different seasons of life, but I really believe that laying all the information out there for our children and modeling that and really showing that this is how we take care of these temples of the Holy Spirit that the Lord has entrusted to our care is how we can pass on this healthy living to our next generation, to our children that we care so much about. If this video was helpful for you, please like and subscribe for more content from me. And I also have a brand new cycle syncing workshop that I would love to give to you. It's helpful if you have a teenage daughter that's currently cycling and wants to know how she can do more to support her body during this season, or for you yourself as you are wanting to navigate some hormonal shifts that are happening. So grab that. The link is in the description.